G'day guys, Tillis20 here and welcome back to Parkitect. Today I'm going to be finally working on the grounds of $2 Studios. I've been mostly working around the outskirts, and in the last episode I built the hotel that is going to be connected up to the theme park through a monorail system and also some footpaths. But today we're actually going to be working on the main drag and also plopping down a roller coaster, which I'm sure a lot of you guys who are Australian will very much recognize that roller coaster, because I am taking a lot of inspiration from a roller coaster that is in Australia. So I'll talk about that in just a second. I will also be doing a live play at about the 12-minute mark of this episode, so if you want to go and check that out, yeah, you can flip over to that. But before I do get into any of that stuff, I just wanted to quickly let you guys know, because I don't think I've announced this in a Parkitect video yet. But for those of you who don't know, I am on Patreon, which is a platform that allows you guys to support the channel, and by doing so, you also get special perks. So some of the perks that I have at the moment are early access to videos and the save game. Every time I upload a video, the save game goes into my Patreon page. And I'm also going to start asking patrons to, you know, if they're interested in creating a blueprint of a ride or some scenery that they want to see in one of my parks, then they can also do that. There'll be dedicated areas for patrons, or even if people want to collaborate with me and they've got good ideas for certain areas, then I'll also be inviting people to jump in over there. And look, totally understand if you can't support me on Patreon. Even if you're just watching this video and listening to me ramble, that's thanks enough. I'm just stoked that people are even watching me play in the first place. But the option's there if anyone's interested. This isn't my full-time job. This is just something I do on the side, and yeah, hopefully one day will become a job. At the moment, it's like a second job that I put probably about the same amount of hours into, but pays terribly. But it's just something that I love doing so much, and hopefully one day it does become something I can do a little bit more full-time, or at least half-half. But we'll talk way down the track. But anyway, let's start talking about everything that I built. I was pretty much just focusing on building the main entrance for $2 Studios, and I've modeled it off pretty much the entrance of Movie World in the Gold Coast in Australia. And I've always really loved the road layout in this main entrance, being this, I guess it's pretty much like a roundabout that's revolving around a fountain. So I wanted to create something similar, and I don't know if you noticed something really tricky that I did was I wanted to extend the size of the fountain. So I ended up using a circle piece that is I think for flooring, and just colored it the same color blue as the water, and then put some fountains just spurting up into the sky, and that created just an extension of the fountain. And I thought that was a really cool technique that I think I'll probably end up using a little bit later on down the track. And for the road layouts, I wanted to just get a little bit away from the grid-like pattern of Parkitect and have a diagonal stretch of road, stretching for quite a long distance. Yeah, it goes for a little while, and I wanted to do that because I think it helps to, you know, take the attention from the grid pattern of Parkitect a little bit more. So I've ended up just shooting that off into the left, and on the right hand side is another road that I'll probably stretch out at some point down the track. And the roads, the footpaths at least for $2 Studios, I wanted it to be a little bit reminiscent of a street or like roads in a city, because I wanted the main entrance area to have you know, the feeling of a parkland, and you know, with a bit of a cityscape as well, because the sort of rides that I want to be placing around this area are going to be a little bit more reminiscent of like superhero movies and some more action movies that sort of take place in cities. Which is a great point to now start talking about the roller coaster that I'm building, that I've actually pretty much just finished. This roller coaster I'm going to be calling Superman Escapes, which is exactly the same name as a roller coaster that I'm taking inspiration from, which again is in Movie World, Australia. This roller coaster was probably the first roller coaster of its kind that I've been on. This is an Intamin launch roller coaster, and it was one of the fastest roller coasters, if not, it probably still is the fastest roller coaster in Australia. No, that's not true. It's the fastest launch roller coaster in Australia, and we pretty much had nothing like this for a really long time. This was built, I think, around 2005, and when it first was released, it was just a masterpiece. Like, there was no other roller coaster in Australia like this. We're really far behind in terms of theme parks and roller coasters. So when this roller coaster was released in Australia, it pretty much like got so much attention. People like losing their minds over it, because pretty much if you weren't into roller coasters like I am, you pretty much had never seen anything like this. And I think I might have been like 15 at the time when it was first built. I remember just being so excited for finally having something that was of a decent size and would actually hold its own. It wasn't just like a rip-off of any other roller coaster, or it wasn't some crappy wooden roller coaster that we had down in Sydney. This was something that was a little bit more legit, something that could actually pass as a a decent ride in an American theme park. So yeah, I feel like I had to start off by building something really similar. And I should point out, this isn't the exact ride. I have made heaps of modifications and changed the layout quite a lot, but I have taken some of the main elements that I really like from Superman Escape. I guess the most obvious one that you can probably see is the track actually goes through the warehouse, and I'm going to detail that at the very end of the time lapse, and it's going to be like a crash through broken parts, as if like you're just diving through a hole in the warehouse and it's smoldering with smoke. That's also from the ride, and it's like a really cool part. But there's actually this whole area that you can't see because I've hidden inside the warehouse, and it's basically the whole story behind this roller coaster. And and that's another thing I really liked about this roller coaster, is that there is actually a story behind the fact that you are launching over these hills and diving in and out of these different ride elements. And I guess the story is that, and this happens as soon as you leave the station, is you start going through a destroyed subway system, and I guess the train car is meant to be a train carriage, a subway train carriage. And as you're going through this warehouse, it's all themed to make it look like it's a subway, and there's like all this water flooding down the stairways, and like police cars are crashing through the windows, and it's really cool. But it's just like getting you hyped up for what is going to come next, and that's the massive launch. And you're basically just going through in and out of all these different scenery bits, and you got this like really cool sound effects coming through the back speakers of your seat, so you're really immersed in the whole experience. And then when you get to the launch part, and you can see the launch in front of you, it stops. And then I can't remember what he says, but you can hear Superman in the back of your head, and he reassures you that everything is going to be okay. I can't remember the exact phrasing. I have to rewatch it. I might even link a video to an on-ride footage of the roller coaster. It's quite a cool ride, and when it was first built in Australia, everybody was super stoked, and I feel like I needed to build something that was quite similar. So this is my version of it in $2 Studios. Not everything I build in $2 Studios is going to be a complete remake. In fact, this is going to be like the only thing I really completely copy. And this isn't completely copied. This is just like my own. This is me taking inspiration from it and then trying to make it into something on my own. But another really cool thing about the ride is this big Superman sign out the front of it. So I thought I should probably also include that, and I ended up downloading the letters for this theme park, because I think I'm going to be using these letters quite a lot in other different areas. And to be honest, I still really wish that was something that was a little bit more easy to make, custom signs, because I think that's going to be something I'm going to really struggle with down the track in Parkitect. But hopefully that'll come later, or somebody will introduce a mod, or I don't know. Hopefully that'll become something that's easier to implement. And I just wanted to create a garden bed around here. So the general theming around here it's pretty, I just wanted to keep it quite gardeny and quite as if you're walking through like a central park. And you know, because obviously this warehouse is, like eventually might theme it or might paint it up so that it has like a very, almost like a low budget type of building skyline on it. You know, not like full buildings, but just like boards that are kind of cut out and stuck on the top, on the side, sorry. And I'll probably only do that in some areas, but I also kind of like how warehousey it is, because obviously in amusement parks they can't detail every inch of the park. They only really want to detail the areas that receive the most attention. And now I'm starting to work on one of the cracks, one of the holes in the warehouse, and this is such a perfect spot because this is like right where the footpath is, so this is like a really great photo opportunity. And I wanted there to be lots of areas like this around here too, so I wanted to leave it quite open, and I think that's why the park theming works quite nicely around here. And I'm also trying to think of what sort of rides to place opposite this one, because there's quite a bit of space there, and I think some flat rides with some eating areas too would also really help out to, you know, make it so that this area is kept quite open, and you know, with a lot of room to expand, and maybe even another type of roller coaster might help as well. So, and something that I was trying to work on and detail this, like while working on this crack, is I really wanted the inside of the warehouse to look really dark. So I ended up having to create like a whole scene behind it, and you know, just painted it pitch black. And then I also placed down, which made it just look amazing, ended up placing down a whole bunch of particle effects to create that smoke. I think there might be steam effect, but man, it just makes it look so amazing. I'm really happy with how this area looks. You're going to be able to get a much better look at it in the live play, which is pretty shortly. But yeah, let me know what you think of it, and yeah, if you have any other suggestions, I'll definitely be implementing and trying to make this area look a little bit more themed as a cityscape, and also introducing maybe some more types of superheroes around this particular area, because I think that this area is a little bit more generic and a little bit more open to different types of movies, whereas other areas within the theme park will have just like direct, complete themed areas. Like obviously we're gonna have to do something to do with Jurassic Park, because what kind of a theme park would it be if it didn't have something to do with Jurassic Park? But anyway, let's dive into the live play, and I'll be able to give you a bit more of a tour of things that I've been doing. So I've just been testing out the ride to see how it goes with all its stats, and man, it is decent. I think we're going to be getting quite a lot of people coming to this ride. It's yeah, it's gonna be great. And also I've opened up the theme park too, so we are starting to see some people coming in, but the cash flow is going to be so low for a while. This being the only ride. Sorry, we also have the monorail, but yeah, look, this theme park is very disjointed for the time being. It's going to take a little while until we get all totally set up. Alright, now that that's just come back, let me show you how it goes. Hide scenery. Alright, so it's just gone through its whole inside area, and it's not like super long, but it's a fair distance. I will probably end up detailing it, to be honest, making it so there is a bit of theming inside. So just like Superman Escapes, it slows down, like slows right down as it gets ready to launch. And look, I didn't really want there to be like a massive drop. Obviously, like we could have had a lot of fun and made something totally epic, but I really just wanted to make something that was a little bit more realistic for this area and the type of theme park that we're going to be going for. But there are some decent drops in it, for sure. It definitely goes longer than Superman Escapes. That is like the really crap thing about that ride, is that it's finished in a heartbeat and then it's over, and you got to wait in line for another hour. But I love those types of breaks that are on that angle. I just wish that Parkitect, and I could be wrong, I might have missed something, but I hate that there's no break-in element for that, because I think that's a little bit of a, I think that's a bit dumb. But yeah, try to make it really, I was really careful not to make that crack so that it was hitting people's heads. Because that's something that always bothers me when I make a ride and then I totally miss out on things like that. But overall, man, I am very happy with it. I'm going to be doing some detail work in the next episode, fixing up a little bit of this and making it so it looks a bit more complete. And we obviously have the whole ride entrance area that I do want to, you know, fence this bit off and add in a whole detailed scenery area for this entrance too. And maybe even like a viewing platform, but that's already quite a nice viewing platform. I've been making these really nice garden beds just by this type of texture down below here, and just placing down a whole bunch of different bushes. Even these ones here I think work quite nicely. Yeah, it's quite cool. Originally I wanted it to extend over here, but it just didn't look right. So maybe we'll end up placing something here as if it's like an extension of the theme park, some sort of land that's been bought later on, but we'll just have to see how we go. And then this is the main entrance. Obviously we need some detail work on it, but I really love this whole massive fountain that I ended up creating, except people do walk through it, but you know, you just have to turn a blind eye. And it is a shame that I couldn't find any gutter pieces that I could extend around here, but I also might be missing something that I could take a look at. But for the time being, I think it looks fine. I think it's going to look a lot better when we start adding in some shops around here and, you know, really extending out some of the commercial areas for the theme park. And this whole drag as well is going to probably have some more like larger shops and some information areas. Some of the biggest shopping areas will be around here too. And in terms of future development, I mean, we have so much land to extend. And this is why I was saying how I want to start inviting people in to collaborate with me and add in little areas. So for instance, if you're a patron and you've got a really great idea for something to go here or over here or whatever, or you've made a blueprint and you want me to stick it down somewhere, I think that'd be really fun because, yeah, I really like collaborating with other people. I do it in some of my other series too. But look, that's about it, guys. Let me know what you think, and I'm gonna jump into the next episode and start working on that now. So if you have any other suggestions for things to head in this area, or what types of buildings I should be placing down, or shops and things like that, then hit me up in the comment section, and I'll definitely take them into consideration. We will need to focus on some cash flow at some stage, so let's just put this on pause while we do that, whatever that button is. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video. See you later.